Magic in the morning at 8:35. Time for Good Policies with Barrett Insurance Agency. And Mike Barrett with a special guest in this morning.
Yeah, we've got Ethan with us this morning, my son, who's kind of nervous to be here, I think.
Well, he's not going to say much.
I guess say anything?
Nope.
Did you just say hi to all your friends or something?
Yeah, he's piping down. This is the second time I met him.
Wow.
First time I met Ethan was at the food drive when you guys stopped down.
That's right. Yeah.
And we're just chatting. Ethan's off until, Wednesday.
Thursday.
Then they go back Thursday.
Thursday they go back, yeah.
He's enjoying his vacation.
He is. I made the mistake of saying, because he wanted to play video games last night and it was late. And I said, buddy, it's a school night. We can't. And I'm just used to calling it a school night. And he was all upset. He's like, I don't go back to school tomorrow. I said, no. It's a figure. Well, how am I going to explain figure of speech to a 6-year-old? So I just said, work night.
He got it. He got to sleep late this morning.
Yeah.
We had a great chat last week here, and a lot of folks are making resolutions this time of year. I don't know how many will actually stick to them for more than a couple of weeks.
True.
I think last year at the same time we did this here, but through this entire year, we have talked about the importance to keep up on your insurance policy. Just because you've said it doesn't mean you can forget it.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, the old Ron Popeil method of insurance. Don't do it. Don't set it and forget it. It's easy to do. Now, when you go through the process of getting your insurance, whether it be for home, auto, life even is included in this discussion, business, workers' compensation, you're doing your due diligence through that process. Well, when a couple of years goes by, things change. Even if your life didn't change, your policy's changed, all right? Because every policy has a built-in inflation guard that will increase the limited coverage for the dwelling of the house if you have a regular homeowner, or for the contents of your personal property if you're a renter. So those are going to go up just automatically year to year based on the automatic inflation guard, which may or may not be what you need. Or maybe just the economy has changed and things have increased in value. Or maybe the cost of construction has increased, which, truth be told, that hasn't for quite a long time, but it could. So these are all things to think about. If you've purchased more things, if you've gotten a good job and you're putting money in the bank, if you've acquired a house or a secondary house or whatever road you are on, it's important to think about the limits of coverage you have for liability protection, because remember, the liability is there to protect your assets if you are held liable for or negligent for somebody's injuries.
I'm going to jump in here and ask you this question, and forgive me if I'm repeating something you said there, because that was a lot of info right there.
Sorry, I throw it all out.
Well, no, that's all right. You were talking about increases that come upon annually, and we were talking about personal property last week in our chat.
Yeah.
That's one that goes up, and it's not necessarily because your stuff is more valuable. The insurance company figures you've acquired more stuff.
Yeah, and an inflation guard can range anywhere from zero. I mean, believe it or not, there are some companies, I think, that will allow you just to not put an inflation guard on there, but that's few and far between. Typical minimum inflation guard percentage is 2%, which is prorated over the course of the year. So you're seeing, even though you're not seeing it on paper, it is kind of going a prorated increase, 2% over the course of the year, and you'll see it reflected on paper at your next renewal. Now, the average is probably 4 or 6% inflation guard. It used to be as high as 8 and 10%, which is just unnecessary, really, at this time, with the way that, especially with construction materials and construction costs, have kind of stayed somewhat flat, at least from what the data shows. So.
All right. Well, that's the important information that the companies and agencies, base their billing on.
Yeah.
So it's good advice.
Exactly. I don't know if he's thinking he's wanting to talk now. Are you going to say something? No. Okay. He's still on mute. That's fine.
That's
fine.
all right.
He doesn't have the gift of gab yet. Well, actually, he does. He totally has it from me, but he's just being shy this morning. But yeah, so if you can make one New Year's resolution, it's the easiest one to stick to. Pull out your policy. Don't have to understand all of it, because that's not necessarily what the purpose is, but get a fundamental understanding of what you have and see if it's what you need. And if you have any questions that go beyond your comfort level of knowledge, that's why we exist. Feel free to reach out to us, reach out to your agent, reach out to your company, have a quick discussion. You may find 5, 10, 15-minute discussion once a year is all you need to make sure that you're dialed in properly, okay? It may be more than that. You may find that you've been underinsured for a period of time. I mean, many things happen. We try to do our best to make sure we're catching it on the onset as well, but things can happen. We're all human, so it's good for you to be part of that.
Well, people do their due diligence to make sure that they don't have a loss. They don't have to file a claim here.
Yeah.
But something to talk about here is we use the theme of resolution. Now, I am as guilty as many of our listeners out there can be at my age, and yes, I'm not as young as I used to be, I don't have a life insurance policy. Mm-hmm. Folks that don't, no matter what age they are, they want to start thinking about that, and that's one of the offerings that you have.
It is. And interestingly enough, the most common reason that I have somebody approach me for life insurance is they have either witnessed or been part of somebody's passing where they have seen the cost incurred. If you don't have any life insurance and you have not any savings or a lot of assets, there's going to be money involved for even the most basic of burials is going to cost a fair amount of money. So maybe you want to at least protect your family from having to suffer that burden of expense by having a $10,000, $15,000, $25,000 policy. And there are many people say, well, I'm not going to qualify. I'm not going to be eligible because I'm older, or maybe I have some medical ailments or some chronic diseases. There are companies that will consider you. You don't know if you don't try. You don't win the Powerball if you don't buy a ticket. So it's worth having that discussion. We write a lot of graded policies, which essentially say, look, if within the first 2 years of this policy being issued, if you die of natural causes, the most you will get for payments is what you've paid in for premium, plus some companies do some interest, or up to 10%. All right? So they're saying, we're writing you, but we're hoping that you don't die in the first 2 years. And if you do, well, we're not paying you the full death benefit. If you die of an accidental death within those 2 years, you'll get the full death benefit. After 2 years, your graded benefit goes away. Now you're getting a full death benefit payout if you die of any cause. So, there's really very little reason not to try to at least see if you are eligible for some level of life insurance.
Well, and as we've heard with some of the advertising campaigns out there, when it does come to life insurance, they may or may not require a doctor's visit or some kind of checkup like that.
Typical threshold is about $50K. So if you're under $50,000 in death benefit, typically just a medical questionnaire and them gathering data from the Men in Black, my jokingly thing. It's an acronym, MIB. It's called the Medical Information Bureau. But, it's where they can get enough data to see if you are an eligible risk for their underwriting appetite. It's worth checking out. It really is. And the thing with life insurance that's interesting is it's a process. It can take a little while before, from when you look to secure coverage to when you actually get your policy could be a month or so in many cases, because there is a fair amount of due diligence in that process. But try it. Doesn't cost a thing to try.
Well, they're also covering their back. There have been some horror stories in the past of people being fraudulent with those kind of policies, and that's not where we're going with this, but
right.
that's why it's a process.
Right. But, I saw an article that one of the best gifts you could ever give a child for Christmas, and I wouldn't call it the best gift you could ever give a child. I'm sure my 6-year-old next to me would say, yeah, right, that's not the best gift you can give me, but the gift of a life insurance policy. Ethan will never be healthier than he is right now. And to be written a life insurance policy based on being 6 years of age and being healthy and having a pretty awesome limited coverage that will stay with him for a whole life policy, that's certainly something to look at. For me, if I was to do a whole life policy at my age, we're talking probably $10,000 a year. For him, a couple $100 a year.
I'm a few years older than you, so
more than a few, pal. No, just kidding.
Don't tell everybody. All right, so folks, I want their question answered.
Yes, give us a call, 748-5224. You can visit us on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury. Ethan will be there with us today.
Good.
Because why not? You can also visit us online, thebarrettagency.com, Google, Facebook, and YouTube, all Barrett Insurance Agency. We are closing at 1 today, but then we're back open Thursday and Friday.
All right, you guys going out first night north?
No, we're at the age now where our New Year's is... it's kind of a who can stay up latest on the couch situation.
Yeah, the living room.
Yeah.
It's the best place for it.
Yeah.
Well, for some of us, because I still got to get up and come in and work tomorrow morning just like it's any other day. So we won't be watching the ball rise in St. Johnsbury tonight.
There are some attractions at first night that I really would like to try, so that's not off the table. But we'll gauge Mr. here and see how he's feeling this evening.
All right. Well, on behalf of the crew here, thanks for being part of us all year long. Joining us here on Tuesday mornings. Ethan, I hope you enjoy the rest of your vacation. I know you're looking forward to get back to classes on Thursday, aren't you? Yeah,
he said something.
He did.
You got him to say
All right.
something.
Barrett Insurance Agency, Portland Street in St. Johnsbury. Music for you from Grace Potter and the Nocturnals.